The lost and found nation of Islam, Muhammad's Temple United, is seeking to unite with all of the believers in temples across the country. If you are a member or a part of a temple, or if you have a temple, contact us and let us unite one nation under one way of life. Islam is taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Don't see your city or state? Let's change that. Let's unite and put your temple on the map of unity. Let us not come together in unity in belief only, but let us come together and unify as one in practice. The time is now, black man and woman. Your nation awaits you. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Muhammad's Sunday Lectures, brought to you by the Nation of Islam, Muhammad's Temple Unite. This Sunday's lecture will be brought to you by Brother Minister Hon Muhammad, and it's subject by the name of Allah, God, Part 2.
In the most holy name of Allah, who appeared among us, the black man and woman of America, in the person of Master W.D. Farad Muhammad, and in the name of his divine servant and messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I greet my listeners, or our listeners, in the greeting words of peace and paradise. Once again, Assalamu alaikum. Brothers and sisters, thank you for taking time out today to listen to our Sunday lectures, sponsored by the Muhammad's Temple of Islam United. We, the brothers and sisters, are members of the Nation of Islam and followers of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So if you have family, if you have friends, if you have any other relatives, people that you know, tell them to tune in right now to Muhammad's Sunday lectures. We have been coming close to a year now, and we thank you. We thank you for viewing and listening to what we have to say. Our lecture today, which is a part 2 of something that I introduced last week called Fighting in the Name of Allah, God. But before we start our lecture, we always open up in prayer, asking Allah to bless us, to protect us, to give us the knowledge, the wisdom, and the guidance to deliver a clear message to you. We are not here to harass you. We are not here to condemn you. We're not here to make you feel bad. We are simply here to give you the truth. So brothers and sisters, whatever God you believe in, whatever name you call him or her by, whatever entity that you worship, we ask that you join us in our Muslim opening prayer. We call it the Al-Fatiha, or the opening. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praises is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Master of this day of judgment in which we now live. Thee alone do we serve, and thee alone do we beseech for aid. Guide us along the right path, along the path of those who thou hast bestowed favors, but not along the path of those whom thy wrath is brought down, nor along those who go astray. Say, Allah's one God is he who nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He neither begets not, nor is begotten, and there is none like him. And I bear witness that none deserve to be praised or worshipped besides Allah, who came in the person of the Master of Muhammad. I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is his servant and messenger. Amen. Brothers and sisters, again, thank you for joining us. But before subject entitled In the Name of Allah, I just wanted to touch on, just for a few minutes, I know you saying some, whenever you hear me speak, you say, here he goes with this how to eat the live. Why he's bothering me with why, what? Because it's very important, brothers and sisters. It's one thing to have, but it's another thing to have the understanding and the knowledge on how to eat this great body that Allah has given us, has blessed us with. The greatest gift that we have as human beings, the greatest gift black people have, is our life. It is life. When you have life walking around every day, you have to protect and preserve. One of the great pleasures of life is nature. You ever look at a sunset and you see how it makes you feel? Have you ever witnessed the rise of the sun? Have you ever looked at nature and see the flowers, the trees, or the waves from the ocean crashing among the rocks? Beautiful, calming, tranquil sight. It has just a profound effect. In the course of life, ideas and thoughts. That is a very beautiful thing, especially if humans. But the thing, and another one of the beauties of when you have family reunions, you meet your cousins, you meet your aunts and uncles, your grandparents, or sisters, thank you for taking time out today to listen to our Sunday lectures, sponsored by the Muhammad's Temple of Islam United. We, the brothers and sisters, are members of the Nation of Islam and followers of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So if you have family, if you have friends, if you have any other relatives, people that you know, tell them to tune in right now, the Muhammad's Sunday Lectures. We have been coming to you close to a year now, and we thank you. We thank you for viewing and listening to what we have to say. Our lecture today, which is part two of something that I introduced, fighting in the name of Allah, God. But before we start our lecture, we always open up in prayer, asking God to bless us, to protect us, to give us the knowledge, the wisdom, and the guidance to deliver a clear message to you. We are not here to harass you. We are not here to condemn you. We make you feel bad. So brothers and sisters, whatever God you believe in, whatever name you call him or her by, whatever entity that you worship, we ask in our Muslim opening prayer. We call it the Al-Fatiha, or the opening. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praises is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Master of this day of judgment in which we now live. He alone will we serve, and He alone will we beseech for aid. Guide us along the right path, along the path of those who Thou hast bestowed favors, and not along the path of those whom Thy wrath is brought down, nor along those who go astray. Say He, Allah is one God. Allah is He who nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He neither begets not, nor is begotten, and there is none like Him. And I bear witness, be praised and worshipped, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, and I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is His servant and messenger. Amen. Brothers and sisters, again, thank you for joining us. But before we get started with our subject entitled Fight in the Name of Allah, God, I just wanted to touch on, just for a few minutes, I know you saying, some of you have been tuning in, whenever you hear me speak, you say, here he goes with this, how he need to live. Why he bother me with what we need? Because it's very important, brothers and sisters. It's one thing to have spiritual, this great body that Allah has given us, that God has blessed us with. The greatest gift that we have as human beings, and the greatest gift Black people have, is our life. Our life. When you have life, you just don't live and preserve that life. One of the great pleasures of life is nature. You ever look at a sunset and you see how it makes you feel? Have you ever witnessed the rising of the sun? Have you ever looked at nature and see the flowers, the trees, the calm waters, or the waves from the ocean crashing among the rocks in the shore. Isn't that a beautiful, calming, tranquil sight? That is one of the beauties of nature. It has just a profound effect on your mind and your spirit. The pleasures of life, the pleasure of communicating, whether it's with your family members, with your children, with a friend, with a neighbor, to communicate, to talk, to exchange ideas and thoughts. That is a very beautiful thing, especially if it's positive. Sometimes we get into arguments, sometimes we get into disagreements. But to be able to just to communicate is a wonderful thing. And one of the beauties of life is relationships. Relationship with your family, you meet your cousins, you meet your aunts and uncles, your grandparents. Or you're in a relationship with another brother who you've been friends with. When Facebook came into existence, I wanted to find my childhood friends because we had a relationship when we were young that I wanted to recapture, wanted to talk to them. So my children encouraged me because I was on Facebook originally. But they told me you could find your childhood friends, and I was able to find some of them. And it was a beautiful thing to reconnect with them. And then there's a relationship between man and woman, husband and girlfriend. And it's a beautiful thing. That is some of the gifts of life. But you have to maintain your life. How do you do that? You have to eat right. And one of the other pleasures of life is a good, wholesome, tasty meal. But we don't just eat for taste, but we eat to live, to maintain ourselves. See, everything, and this is what the most Hon Elijah teaches us, because he wants us as Black people to understand that we have to, in order to live long and live a long, healthy life, you have to eat the right foods at the right time. Just be patient with me, brothers and sisters, for this a few more minutes so I can explain it's important to eat right and eat. Everything in nature, everything in life, everything that's on the earth doesn't mean that you can eat everything that you see. It's just not practical. It's just not common sense. Just because God made it doesn't mean that you can eat those things. There are things that are good for us, and there's things that's not good for us. You remember when we were in, he would say the most unintelligent thing. He said, and we would drop something on the ground, and he said, "Why are you picking that up? That's dirty." And we would say, "God made dirt. Dirt don't hurt." That's a child's understanding that was given to them or that they heard God. Just because God made dirt don't mean you're supposed to eat it. I mean, vegetation and other things come up out of the earth, come up out of the dirt of the earth, but you can't eat dirt. And you remember when we would drop something, we were children, and we would say, "I'm just kissing up the God because we just wanted to eat it. The thing was dirty. It fell on the ground. It might have been dogs. It might have fell in some dog mess. Or somebody put some other, dropped some other things on it, and you dropped that piece of candy or that piece of cake or whatever it may have been. And we said, oh, I want everything that comes up out of the earth doesn't mean that we can eat it. Let me tell you what the Holy Quran said. This is the book that we believe in. The Hon Elijah Muhammad said, read and study the Holy Quran. In Surah 2 or chapter 2, verse 168, let me tell you what it says. It's been a few minutes, a second or so, brothers and sisters. 2, verse 168 of the Holy Quran. Section 21, Holy Quran, chapter 2, verse 168, the section 21 on prohibited foods. This is talking to the believers. This is talking to the human being. This is talking to us. It says, "O men, eat the lawful and good things from what is in the earth." What is lawful and good. What is practical for you to eat. What is good for you to eat, to nourish your body, to clean your body. And follow the footsteps and follow not the footsteps of the devil. Follow not the footsteps of the devil. Surely he is an open enemy to you. Eat the lawful and good things of the earth. So how do you know what is lawful and good? You need someone to teach you. Some of us go to nutritionists, some herbalists. Mothers have no idea what to eat. All they're going to give you is 2 pills, telling you to get some Motrin or give you some other kind of medication, but they never teach you because they're not taught that in medical school. What are the lawful things that we eat? The most honorable Elijah Muhammad and how to eat to live. How he teaches us the lawful and good things to eat. Do not eat the pig. He said it has 999 different poison or germs in the body, what you call the swine. We have to maintain our lives, brothers and sisters. The greatest gift God has given us is our life. You know, they say the average person lives about 80 years, maybe 70 years, depending on how they take care of themselves, man and woman. We sleep 8 hours a day, on an average, 8 hours a day. Now, if you calculate, if we live 70 years or 80 years and we sleep 20 years out of our life, those 20 years, 8 hours a night or 8 hours a day, or whatever it may be, that means you're dead. 20 of oculation. You're in like almost in a dead state. Alive, physically, you're breathing, but you're dead. You're asleep. If you take this out of your life, that means the other 50 years is the only part of your life that's left. That means you're only alive 50. The other 20 years, you're asleep. Take off that pork. Stop eating that hard. I can't believe that certain people today are still eating pig feet, still eating pigtails, pig knuckles, hog-eared cheese. Yeah, there's some of our people that are still eating that. That was the food that the slave masters from Africa to America put us on slave plantation, gave us the worst food. And it was the hog. And it was never good for us. So the Hon Elijah Muhammad said when he met God in person, after teaching him the knowledge of self, the knowledge of the reality of God, he gave him different instructions on what we should eat. So basically he said, drink plenty of water. Stop drinking all those sodas. Get away from all of those beverages. Those things are blues. I've seen blue sodas and yellow sodas and orange sodas. Those number dyes. He said, but drink water. Even if you drink water from the tap, brothers and sisters, is better. Sodas that you be getting in the store. Get a filter in your house. It filters out some of the poisons that's in the waters. I know this. I live in a community. There's only one fruit and vegetable store, and there's close to 60,000 people that live in my community. One and vegetable, but there's Chinese restaurants, there's pizza shops, there's all of other stores that don't give us the necessary health foods that we need to eat. But when I go into the white community, which is about a half a mile from my house, there's a fruit and vegetable store on every block on both sides of the street. We don't eat oranges. We don't eat watermelon. We don't eat cantaloupe. We don't eat broccoli. We don't eat all the kind of fruits and vegetables that's in our bodies. But in the white community, they understand the value of fruit and vegetables. So I hope I didn't upset, but seriously, brothers and sisters, we have to eat. I just met a sister today, early this morning, and I asked her how her boyfriend was doing. She said he's not doing. He said he has kidney failure. He's on dialysis. And that is something that is a growing problem among Black men. And she said her daughter stays after him so he takes his medication. I don't know how long he's going to live, but he can live long if he just reverse everything, he was doing. He was in jail for many years. I notice a lot of the brothers that come out of prison, they suffer from that. We are dying, but we can live better and longer if we follow the dietary teachings given to us to the Hon Elijah Muhammad. I guarantee you. So I'll get off of that. You drink some water, brothers and sisters. Okay. Let us begin to talk about a very serious subject. And all of our subjects are serious, but this is more in particular a sensitive subject. Fight in the name of Allah, God. So when you hear the word fight, the first thing you might think about is violence. The first thing that comes to an individual when you use the word fight is something violent. Not necessarily. When you fight, to make sure that you refrain yourself from any negative habits. Sometimes you oversleep. You have to fight against sleep because sometimes, as I was saying, we sleep that 20 years of our life. So you have to fight against those kind of, things that's trying to keep you in the bed. And we have all kinds of urges. There's an urge appetite. You want to eat all day. You have to fight against those kind of urges. Then there's the urge for sex. We have to fight overindulgent. Sometimes some of us work all day. We have to know how to win and how to relax. We have to fight those urges. So it is not necessarily a violent thing, even though sometimes under certain circumstances, we must fight. We have to understand that Allah, through his messenger, the most Hon Elijah Muhammad, he taught us when to fight, how to fight, as black people here in America, we have been the primary victims of violence against us. We have been the primary victims of any who have been in America. We have felt the brunt, we have felt the violent behavior, we have felt politically, socially, economically, culturally, degradation and violence against us in all of those areas. But the Hon Elijah Muhammad, it is said that to get knowledge is one of the most important, so you can be able to make a differentiation from one thing or another. But in your getting of knowledge, the best thing to get is understanding. Creature comes from the word created. The creatures that crawl upon the earth, every one of us, every species has a right to defend itself against its enemy or its predator. When we talk about fighting, as I said, it's not necessarily a violent thing. Martin Luther King led what his symbol or his idea was love enemy, so your enemy will begin to love you. See, the Hon Elijah Muhammad, he respected Dr. King as his brother. He loved him as a black man, as we should love each other. But he didn't agree with Dr. King's tactics and methods in order to get them to love us, to respect us. He didn't encourage we, his followers, because the white man would beat women, drag them. I mean, I saw on the, and some, you can see some of the pictures where they were black women's clothes, young children. Like Muhammad said, we respect them, but I'm not going to have my followers to go into the hands of vicious white people to let them beat and kill us and drag out women. And no, we must fight in the name of Allah. We must know when to fight, how to fight, and what to fight with. See, they tried during the 60s and 70s to paint the violent organization. They said we taught hate and we promoted violence. The Nation of Islam, the very word Islam, is totally opposed to violence. It's totally an Arabic word which means peace. We're promoters of non-violence. Of violence. We're non-violent, to be non-violent. We're the promoters of that. We don't go and cause anyone or to make anyone believe in what we believe in. We teach the truth. They try to paint the Islam, the name given to the military training of men who belong to Islam in North America. Muhammad instructed all of his followers, do not even carry as much as a penknife. And some of you brothers that are walking around with guns, trying to justify that the army is against that. We don't carry guns. We don't carry weapons. We believe in Allah. We believe that Allah can protect us. The fruit of Islam was never about, we were always a group that defended ourselves, but we never was the aggressor against anyone. Let me tell you something about the history of Islam. History that's qualified and most attractive for all our research. In the time of Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him, did you know that when the Muslims rose up in Saudi Arabia under the guidance of Prophet Muhammad, they were pacifists? You know what a pacifist is? A pacifist is a person who won't fight, that would not instigate a fight. The Muslims were nonviolent. They were like Dr. King. They were pacifists. You know? And then, you know, the enemies in that period, many of them Jews, but the major group that wanted to destroy and kill Prophet Muhammad Muslims were the Quraysh. They were a tribe. They were a tribe in Saudi Arabia, members of Prophet Muhammad. They were cousins, they were distant, they were uncles this man, he'd say he's a prophet. And the Muslims didn't fight. They were beating them. They ostracized them. Some of them were even killed in the early rise of this. They were nonviolent. Even though they were being attacked, killed, and ostracized and persecuted, they wouldn't fight. Then all of a sudden, that there was a plan being hatched to come after the Muslims and Prophet Muhammad to wipe them completely out, to murder men, women, and children. Then, because you know Prophet Muhammad would get revelations, it was then that he got mission, which is found in chapter 2, verse 1. That's what it said. (102), verse 190. Chapter 2, verse 190. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. It said, now this is a revelation, and fight in the way of Allah against those that, okay? This is where you hear us in the Nation of Islam say, never be the aggressor. Never attempt to one. Fight in the name of Allah. Be aggressive without. See the automatic revelation came to him when he found out. He said, fight in the name of Allah. That's when the Muslims up and be protected against the onslaught or the attempt by the enemies to wipe out the Muslims. It said fight in the way of Allah. So when we say fight in the, we heard say in the name of Allah, really in Arabic, that's not a term. It's really fight in the way of Allah. It means fight with the name of Allah, with the power of Allah, with the assistance of Allah, with the guidance of Allah. See, when you fight in that, then Allah gives you the victory over the enemy. Sometimes the words jihad. He said, oh, what is that? That's a fighting word. Right? You're going to go and kill people. No, not necessarily, no. That's not what it, the root of it, that's not what it means. Let me explain something quickly, sisters. When we say fight in the name of Allah, see, it's not, as I was just explaining, it's not saying with. So if you speak the Arabic language, you say Bismillah, it's with Allah. Not in the name, it's with Allah. There's nothing or no one without the of Allah. So it's with the name of Allah. So the word, when we say fight in the name of Allah, what we mean is fight with Allah. Name means nature. See, in Islam, a name means that which is an attribute, the nature by which you perform. So when we say fight in the name, what we mean is fight with the assistance of Allah. Fight with the permission of Allah. Fight with the guidance and the remembrance. They say the greatest force in the universe is the remembrance of Allah. The greatest force in the universe is a remembrance, the thought of Allah. The Hon Elijah Muhammad, such a beautiful man. To fight, but he said, they always fight in the name of Allah. See, when I was a member of the 5% nation, we used to say, when they would call us a particular name, they would say, well, it's just a label. That's not my name. I have what is called what God an attribute. They were right, or we were right in that basic content, but sometimes your label defines, when you go to the grocery store, what do? If you're educated, at the label, and the label would tell of what's in the food. You understand? So a label, nothing wrong with a label, but a label, the product is in the Surah al-Baqarah, which means the cow, in verse 2 again, chapter 2 of Surah 2, verse 31, God told Adam, instructed Adam all the name talks about the nature of a thing. Name gives you the purpose of a thing. So Allah taught Adam all the names of the things in creation, how they function, how they interact with things. So once you understand the nature of things, then you can deal with it. This is why the Hon Elijah Muhammad saying was that the white man was the devil. He wasn't making fun at the white man. He was using the language of scripture. What does a devil do? A devil practices evil. A devil practices murder. A devil practices sinister things. He wasn't called like man. He wasn't that kind of man. He was telling you the nature or the name of that thing and how that thing functions. So you'll be able to make a different Bible. In Genesis 2:20, chapter 2, verse 20, in the book of Genesis, God tells Adam of all the trees in the garden, of all the things that's in the garden, you can partake of them. But that tree in the midst of the garden, you stay away from. He taught Adam names of all the creatures and all the things that were in the garden and the nature of them, so he can be able to be the major force in the creation that he was in. What does this mean? Fight in the name of Allah. Again, it means with the power of God. See, some of you, or some of us black people, we run out and get a gun. Most of the time, we kill each other. You don't go out shooting other people outside of your community. Most of the people that I know that got shot where I live, the person, they had some conversation with the person. So you got a gun, you got a bat, you got a knife, and kill your mother, your brother, your sister, your wife, because you putting yourself in a position without the understanding of how, when, and what to fight. Say, but Mr. Hawk, how do I protect myself with all these people that made the white man killing us, the police killing us? What am I supposed to do? How do I protect myself? Why can't I go get a gun? Well, first of all, brothers, most of you don't even know how to shoot a gun. Have you noticed that all those shootings that you hear about, they never hit, most of the time, the target that they were after, that they were trying to hit, because they don't even know how to shoot a gun. And all the guns you have, they were manufactured, a serial number on it. And the white man knows where every gun is at, where it was bought, how it was obtained, how it was transported from one part of the country to another. They know where all of the guns are there. But they will stand back you to kill each other. But you say, well, how about protecting yourself? By you getting a gun, you get dozens of people that come in. Well, how are you going to protect yourself? See, when we were brought here to America by the white man over 400 years ago, the enslaved Africans, the enslaved brothers and sisters that were on those plantations, we didn't have a gun. We didn't have a gun. The white man had a gun. And they created what was called the overseers. Those are the people that would overlook and oversee all the slaves. And they had guns. And then they formed them and developed and that into what we know as the police department. It was never intended for you done. See, once you put your faith in a weapon, once you put your power in a piece of steel called a 9mm, then you have taken God out of the picture. He can't protect you. He can't protect you. Once you pray, once you put your power in a physical gun, God leaves you. You're on your own. Right. Many of them finding guns. I just told recently, my brother told me the young brother that I literally born, they call him with 2 guns. What do you have a gun for? You don't own nothing in the community, but you have took ownership of 2 guns. Fight with the name of Allah. In April 27th, 1962, let me give you history and some example, because the Hon Elijah Muhammad, from 1931 up into the 60s, protected many of his followers through proper guidance, divine guidance. He never said our life. He never said that some of us will be a casualty. But he said, if you follow me, Allah will bless us. You casualties. So on April 27, 1962, at temple number 27, or you might call mosque number 27, the police department in Los Angeles, California, wrote believers as they were leaving that night. And they shot and killed the secretary of the mosque of the temple, Brother Ronald X. Stokes. Shot another brother in the back. Went parallel. And the brothers were unarmed. They were fighting the police. But they were unarmed. They were just coming out of the temple after a temple meeting that night. At incident, the brothers wanted to fight. The FOI wanted to fight. They wanted to go to war. Malcolm was upset. Malcolm was prancing back and forth. They're going to pay. They said he was saying, they're going to pay. Malcolm was trying to rile up the brothers to fight. The messenger said, hold up. This is what I want you to do. He said, all the brothers that go back to your temples and get the Muhammad Speak newspapers and get out into the street and take that word that I put in that Muhammad Speaks and put it in the hands of the black men and women. The temple filled up. We converted more people. Yeah, we lost Brother Ronald X. Stokes. Brother William was paralyzed, but we were able to produce more Ronald X. Stokes, more Brother Williams, through the guidance and the teachings of the Hon Elijah Muhammad. Yes. Brothers didn't like that. They wanted to fight. But the Hon Elijah Muhammad said, what? And all those black people that were out that night, all those believers that were in the temple were slaughtered. And again, the headlines would have said Elijah Muhammad responsible for of men, women, and children. And that would have turned the hearts and minds of our people against us. Yeah. But what do you fight with? You said, Brother Minister, what do we fight with? God gave Moses the rod. Rod is a symbol. You saw pictures, if you saw the Ten Commandments, you saw Charlton Heston, the actor, walking with a stick. That was a rod. But God gave Moses. The rod represents a powerful instrument against the enemy. And it said when Pharaoh threw his rod down, Pharaoh's rod, meaning that his power, his truth in God, God gave Jesus the gospel. The gospel only means the good news. Having faith. Jesus could have got the Palestinians or the people in Jerusalem to rise up and get instruments of death, but what God had revealed to him, and God gave him the gospel. God gave Prophet Ron and the belief in the one God. And look at all those three. God gave Moses the rod. And now you have those thousands of them all over the world because of that one belief. He gave Jesus the gospel. But now you have millions of Christians all over the world by the very word of the gospel. He gave Muhammad the Holy Quran and the belief in the one God. You have Muslims from the sunny shores of China all the way to the northern Eastern Europe. You have Muslims. They say there's about maybe 1 billion Muslims all over the planet. What did he give to the Hon Elijah Muhammad? What did he give to the Hon Elijah Muhammad? As he gave Moses, Jesus, and Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he gave the Hon Elijah Muhammad the truth. The truth is a weapon that is so powerful, it penetrates the minds and the hearts of our people and makes them come alive. It's the life-giving teachings of the Hon Elijah Muhammad from God himself in person. Oh, you can't fight against the truth. That's why it says in the Holy Quran, they tried to put out the light of Allah with their mouths. But Allah has perfected his light. Though the polytheists, the enemies, the infidel, the disbelievers, the hypocrites, and the devils be adverse. Truth is the most important and greatest weapon that we use. That's why it says, no weapon forged against the righteous. If we have the truth, no one could harm us. Master W.D. Farad Muhammad, God in person, promised us victory. But victory can only come in America if we follow the dictates, if we follow the word and the practice and the principles given to us by God. We can't fight like the white man fight. We can't fight like enemies fight. We have to fight. That's why also in the Holy Quran it said, Allah holds truth and falsehood and knocks out the rain. What's next? It's talking to humans who are opposed to God, who come with evil intentions. And the Hon Elijah Muhammad said our unity is more powerful than atomic bombs. Well, we're in a nuclear age, and it's still the same. So brothers, put down those guns and pick up Allah's word. Pick up the faith and truth in what we believe in. I know some Muslims got guns in their home. Be very careful. You know, when I was a parole officer, I had a 9mm. I hated it. Was so happy when I retired. I put that thing. I gave it back to the division. And some of the other parole officers, you ain't gonna get no gun. You're not gonna keep no. Some of them had 3, 4, 5 guns. I know a sister that was a parole officer with me. We used to go out on a home visit together. Her sister was shot 19 times by her husband, who was a police officer, a retired police officer. Shot her sister. That was her brother-in-law. Shot her sister 19 times and killed her. He had a gun. The Hon Elijah Muhammad ever taught us, brothers and sisters, to pick up a weapon. We're not allowed in our temples and our meetings to have any form of weapons, not even a knife, a toothpick. The Hon Elijah Muhammad wrote many books, but the major books is Message to the Black Man in America, Fall of America, Our Savior Has Arrived, The Flag of Islam, How to Eat to Live, Book 1 and Book 2. He wrote a couple of other pamphlets called The Supreme Wisdom. So and go in there. I don't care who you are, whether you're a Muslim or you're a Christian or whoever you may be, you will not find anywhere in that book that the Hon Elijah Muhammad encouraged us to pick up any weapons to fight and kill anybody. We fight with the name of Allah. And this is what has made us successful. And if the black community is to survive, we have to come together as a people, and our unity will allow us to build homes, will allow us to build, open up stores, open up schools. This man did this in the midst of us. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad did this. And you cannot find anywhere in his writing. And then that you can find in that book that talks about war is in a chapter called The Battle in the Sky. He told us there's a plane in the sky. He said it's a half-mile by half-mile square. It's a wheel within a wheel, a sphere within a sphere, a people within a people, a nation within a nation. He said that plane has 1,500 bomber planes. What's adding to that? Some of us said we've seen it. Some say they haven't seen it. But what is the greatest understanding? He said the battle would take place in the sky. It will be on a high. If you look in the book of Genesis, it's described a serpent that's crawling on its belly. But go to that from Genesis, Revelation, a snake crawling on his belly. It's a dragon now. It has transformed to a higher level. They're dealing with technology now. Drones, mass destruction. But we believe in Allah. This is why the Hon Elijah Muhammad taught us of this great wheel. But what about this wheel? That's the only way out. There's a battle. And he said, in the war of Armageddon, you don't win. You have to survive the war of Armageddon because it's so deadly. Literally in the judgment now, and trying to take us as black people and give us the right guidance. As I near my conclusion, brothers and sisters, he talked about that great battle in the sky. He described this wheel. The wheel had living creatures and it had faces. What does that mean? He said there was the noise coming from the wheel. And he began to, in his description, because he did several articles on the mother plane, he said and then it was like a calf foot. He said, what does that mean? And he said the foot was split. And there were 4 creatures that was taken up in the ship. Well, what does that all mean? You looking up in the sky, you may or should be maybe looking down here. But we fight in the name of Allah. And all of what America has done to us is 40, 50 million of us black people will hear. Showing you that God is the great one, the merciful, the beneficent, and he can protect us. This is why in our Muslim fighting song, we use the words, we are fighting for Islam and surely without the universal king. And then the lyrics go on, fight for your nation, fight for your home. Allah gave us the national, the sun, the moon, and stars. The great of his creation he has given to you. So let us fight, Muslims, fight for your home, fight for your nation, and we all will fight for your nation, fight for your home, fight for your home, Fight for you, Muslims. Fight for your own. Thank you. I hope so what we fight with the truth. How do we fight? As a people, to unify, to organize, and to strategize our exit. First of all, mentally from the white man's teachings. What, how, what, when do we fight? We fight by what studying need to do in this day and time. And in that, we have all the honorable books. In his names, it tells us when to fight. It's right in there, but you have to study it. So we're asking you, brothers and sisters, to study his teachings, and you will definitely be free. Allah bless you and every one of us with the light on the scene. And may we, when we fight, fight with the name of Allah, with his power, with his guidance, with everything that he has given us. And we will be free. Assalamu alaikum.
If you believe what you are taught today on Islam is true, and you would like to learn more or you are ready to accept and reclaim your own, contact the Lost Foundation of Islam Muhammad's Temple United at 623-312-4352. Again, that's 623-312-4352. We thank you for joining us today and we ask that you return next Sunday and invite your family and friends. We ask your support so that we may continue to get the truth out to our people. You may contribute by donating to our Cash App at $MT United. That's $MT United.
The Lost and Found Nation of Islam, Muhammad's Temple United, is seeking to unite with all of the believers in temples across the country. If you are a member or a part of a temple, or if you have a temple, contact us and let us unite one nation under one way of life, Islam as taught by the Hon Elijah Muhammad. Don't see your city or state? Let's change that. Let's unite and put your temple on the map of unity. Let us not come together in unity in belief only, but let us come together and unify as one in practice. The time is now, black man and woman. Your nation awaits you. Assalamu alaikum.